Ever wonder what it actually takes to become a legend? Not just in the movies, but in the business behind them. Is it luck, timing, pure charisma, or something messier? Maybe it's being tough enough to fight your way through bad scripts, industry snubs, and a few truly terrible costumes, and still walk away with the world calling you iconic. That's the Sean Connery story. Not just the man in the tuxedo, but the outsider who crashed the party, rewrote the rules, and left Hollywood forever changed, whether it was ready for him or not. So if you think you know Connery's story, buckle up. The real saga is a lot messier and a lot more interesting than any smooth-talking spy could ever let on. Before he was Bond, before the tux, before the global fame, Sean Connery was just another extra in a low-budget British crime flick. No Road Back paid him pennies, less than £50 for a minor role as a nameless thug. No close-ups, no lines worth remembering, just a face in the crowd. It wasn't much, but it was something. Connery, already in his mid-20s, was broke, doing odd jobs to survive. Bodybuilding gigs, lifeguard shifts, even a brief stint polishing coffins. No Road Back was a paycheck, sure, but it was also a foot in the door. And Connery, the fighter that he was, wasn't about to let that door close. That quiet, forgettable part? It got him noticed. Just enough for casting agents to keep his name on file. And that mattered, because a few years later, Connery's face would land him in one of the biggest ensemble war films of the decade. By the time The Longest Day came around, Connery wasn't a star yet, but he was a somebody. Cast in the sprawling D-Day epic, he was part of an all-star lineup that included John Wayne, Henry Fonda, and Richard Burton. Connery's role as a British soldier wasn't flashy, but it was a notch up, a sign that he was moving in the right circles. The budget? Massive. Over $10 million. One of the biggest of its time. Connery's paycheck? Around £1,000. A solid upgrade from his earlier gigs, but nowhere near the kind of money the leads were pulling in. Still, he made the most of it. Connery knew how to command a scene, even in a bit part. And it was just in time, too, because that same year, Connery's entire career was about to change forever. Connery almost didn't get the role of James Bond. The producers thought he was too rough, too unrefined. But when they saw him move, saw the way he owned a room, they knew. He signed on for £6,000, a modest sum for a leading man, but it came with a catch. No percentage points, no back end, just a flat fee. Connery didn't mind. At the time, Dr. No was a gamble for everyone. The film's budget was tight, around $1.1 million, but it exploded at the box office, raking in $59.5 million globally. Connery's payday? Fixed, no matter how many millions the film made. But that single role turned Connery from a scrappy Scottish actor into James Bond, the man every studio wanted, and soon enough, the man who knew it. By Goldfinger, Connery was Bond, and he knew it. The studio tried to keep his salary down, but Connery wasn't playing that game anymore. He demanded a bigger check, $40,000 up front. Not huge by today's standards, but a big leap from Dr. No. The film itself? A juggernaut. Goldfinger had a budget of around $3 million and pulled in over $125 million worldwide. It wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon. And Connery wasn't just an actor anymore. He was the face of a franchise, and that meant leverage. By 1965, Connery had become synonymous with James Bond. In Thunderball, his fourth outing as 007, the stakes and the budget were higher. The film had a production budget of $9 million and grossed $141.2 million worldwide, making it the highest-grossing Bond film at the time. Connery's salary reflected his rising star power, reportedly earning $750,000 for the role. The production was ambitious, featuring extensive underwater sequences that were both innovative and risky. During filming, Connery experienced a close call with a shark that breached safety measures, underscoring the film's daring approach to action. Post-Bond, Connery sought roles that challenged his established image. In Zardoz, he played Zed, a character far removed from the suave spy persona. The film, with a budget of $1.57 million, grossed approximately $1.8 million in the US and Canada, barely recouping its costs. Despite its commercial failure, Zardoz has since gained a cult following for its unique vision and Connery's daring performance. In Sword of the Valiant, Connery took on the role of the enigmatic Green Knight. The film, a fantasy adventure, did not achieve significant box office success, grossing approximately $5.8 million. Connery's involvement added gravitas to the project, but the film remains a lesser-known entry in his filmography. Connery's role as Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez in Highlander showcased his versatility. The film had a production budget of $16 million and grossed $12.9 million worldwide. While not a box office hit, Highlander developed a strong cult following, leading to sequels and a television series, with Connery reprising his role in Highlander 2: The Quickening. In Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Connery played Professor Henry Jones Sr., father to Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones. The film had a production budget of $48 million and grossed $474.2 million worldwide, making it the highest-grossing film of 1989. Connery's performance was critically acclaimed, earning him a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor. After the adventure of Indiana Jones, Connery wasn't content to just coast on nostalgia. If anything, he was getting bolder, leaning into roles that played to his authority and unpredictability. In The Hunt for Red October, Connery steps onto a nuclear submarine and instantly owns the screen, thick accent and all. As Captain Marco Ramius, he brings a quiet intensity that makes the entire Cold War thriller tick. The studio didn't even blink at his salary demands. By now, Connery's presence meant box office insurance. The film took in over $200 million and gave Connery a late career leading man boost Hollywood hadn't seen coming. For a guy once written off as yesterday's news, it was the ultimate flex. But the 90s weren't all hits. Even Connery's instincts misfired. In A Good Man in Africa, Connery gambled on satire. The movie flopped. Critics shrugged, and for once, even Connery couldn't outcharm a bad script. It barely scraped past $2 million at the box office, a rare moment when his star power couldn't pull the project out of a nosedive. Still, Connery pocketed a tidy sum, proving that in Hollywood, even missteps come with a check. But one thing about Connery, he never lingered on failure. Suddenly, he's back with a vengeance. In The Rock, playing a rogue British agent locked up by the US government. Basically, Bond with a grudge. Paired with Nicolas Cage and backed by Michael Bay's explosive direction, Connery is magnetic, dangerous, and sly. This time, he didn't just star, he reportedly had creative sway on the set, even defending Michael Bay when the studio got cold feet. The result? $335 million worldwide, and a new generation discovering Connery as the ultimate action mentor. But Connery wasn't afraid to risk a bad headline. Maybe it was the money, maybe just curiosity. In The Avengers, Connery signed on as a weather-controlling supervillain in a film that somehow made less sense than its trailer. The critics hated it. The audience laughed at it. And Connery, true to form, shrugged it off. Not his proudest moment, but a reminder, legends don't always win, but they never play it safe. By the late 90s, Connery wasn't just picking roles. He was picking legacies. When Entrapment landed on his desk, he didn't just sign on to star. He demanded a producer credit, script approval, and final say over nearly every creative decision. The studio, desperate for his name, agreed. It turned out to be a Connery masterclass in on-set control. On set, Connery's fingerprints were everywhere. He fought to cast Catherine Zeta-Jones, convinced the film needed genuine chemistry, and not just another forgettable love interest. But not everything was smooth. The director and Connery reportedly butted heads over tone, with Connery vetoing dialogue, tweaking action beats, and protecting the movie from studio interference. It paid off. Entrapment was a box office hit, grossing over $212 million globally, and cementing Connery's reputation as the rare actor who could strong-arm Hollywood and still deliver. But Connery wasn't content to just be the action icon. He wanted one last act, something with soul. A year later, Connery stripped away the stunts and gadgets for Finding Forrester, stepping into the role of reclusive writer William Forrester. For fans, it felt like Connery was finally playing himself. Gruff, but wise. Intimidating, but deeply human. What most people don't know is how personal the film became for Connery. He championed casting Rob Brown, an unknown with zero acting experience, after seeing his raw audition. On set, Connery became a mentor for real, guiding Brown through scenes and pushing the director to let the newcomer shine. Finding Forrester scored with critics and audiences, earning Connery some of the best reviews of his later years. For many fans, it's the role they remember most fondly, a final, subtle flex from an actor who never needed to shout to be heard. From shadowy heists to soul-searching mentorship, Sean Connery didn't just ride the wave of Hollywood fame, he bent it to his will. Whether he was rewriting scripts on the fly or taking a chance on an unknown kid from the Bronx, Connery kept doing what he did best. Taking risks, breaking rules, and making every move count. Even in his final chapters, he proved you never really outgrow the urge to shake things up. What's your favorite Sean Connery moment? And which actor's career do you think has the same power to surprise, dominate, and reinvent decade after decade? Drop your pick in the comments. Maybe they'll be the next legend we dive into.